So for those of you new to the channel, hi, I'm Marimi Raids. I go by he, him pronouns, and I love creating book content on BookTube. Romantasy is one of the largest books genres out there. In fact, it is wildly popular, especially on the BookTok space, Bookstagram, BookTube. It is huge. But that's my problem. Not just that it is huge, but the fact that it is really shallow. Now, if Romantasy gets people reading, I personally do not have anything against people who read Romantasy. I don't see the problem with people who like that genre. I don't see the problem with people who want those kind of books. What I do struggle with is the fact that I grew up reading a lot of fantasy books. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of the fantasy books I grew up on aged badly and weren't well written when I've returned to them as an adult. Romantasy, on the other hand, which is constantly being pushed, shoved, and regurgitated in the algorithm and sold to us pre-packaged, repackaged over and over again, aside from the ongoing consumerism struggle that we seem to have with books in the BookTube and BookTok space, the fantasy elements are just a weak backdrop for romance. And quite often in Romantasy, scenes happen that if they were to happen in real life, I'd sock the guy. I said it. I would sock a guy who decides he's going to kiss me at my granddad's funeral. Now's not the time, okay? There's a time for everything. There's a time for everything. If I'm reading a Romantasy, when I heard the term Romantasy, I was thinking we would have an epic adventure. I was thinking it would be a story about how we are the characters, should I say. This is also why I have a bit of a gripe with Akotar. You would think the story would heavily focus on the adventure, the exploration. There would be a lot of world building which explores the world that the characters are in, that explores the characters' lives, that explores the development and the changes over time. And yet quite often when we see romantic books, it is unfortunately mostly small. Now, if you like that thing, I don't have an issue with you. But my channel's not exactly going to be for you either, is it? And it's not... Initially I was like, maybe it's because... Maybe this is a me thing. Maybe this is because I'm asexual. It's not. The books are really shockingly wrote, and most people who like romantasy aren't even reading the full book. You've got shallow world building. You've got guys doing things that if it happened in real life, they should be getting arrested. We are romanticising things that should be getting guys arrested. Like, I'm sorry, tall, dark and handsome, but you are my rival, and me having a panic attack is not an excuse to give me a kiss. I don't want to sleep with you because my brother died. That will never be a thing. It's a thing in Romantasy. Why is this a thing in Romantasy? It sells. It really does sell. It is concerning how well it sells. But hey, if you can get your bag, sis, get your bag. There's a lot of Mary Sues. And now anyone who's new to writing or perhaps has never heard of the term Mary Sue, a Mary Sue was a term that we grew up in the fanfiction space for overpowered characters that just are unrealistic, in the real world would not happen. They had the plot armor. Plot armor is carrying 90% of Romantasy books. And it's like, if you've never read Romantasy, how can... I've read lots of Romantasy, and the thing about Romantasy is you can do Romantasy wrong, you can do it right. Some Romantasy is probably like less than 10% of the books that I've read are actually really well done. Then there's the other 90%, and it's why I'm scared to write my own book. I will admit that while complaining about this on social media, I am scared to create my own book because I'm not even sure if I would write a romantic book. I'm not even sure if I would write an adventure book, but I don't like the plot building. I do not like the world building. It doesn't feel like there's a story there. It just feels like the only thing that the authors are selling in their romantasy books are smuts, Mary Sue characters, which in the world of fanfiction and in the world of roleplay, which I was one of those, I grew up in that world, it was a world which, unfortunately, no one's characters were allowed to be stronger than your character. And it was absolutely awful to play with people who had Mary Sue characters. It was awful experience because in a roleplay, it gets you used to writing. I like roleplay as like an escape mechanism, but I also like roleplay as like the means to help work on your writing skills. But Mary Sue's characters, your character can't do this because my character's overpowered, this, that, and the other. And it feels like that sentiment is applied to most Romantasy books. It is applied to a lot of Romantasy books. And it's not even just Romantasy, it's in a lot of enemy to lovers. Like, enemy to lovers, if we are going to have an enemy to lovers, I want there to be something drastic that has happened, but I want to see that relationship change. And I don't want it to be through flirting, because I'm sorry, if you nearly killed me, I'm not going to fall in love with you later. I have been in that situation, by the way, and it was wild. That person thought that I was going to have a crush on them. I'm like, do better, men. Men, can we just do better? Can we just do better? Can we do better? Can we do better? Like, yes, I like books, but I don't want to be a real life, nearly murdered, then fall enemy to lovers. That is not a thing. There are case studies online. I'm sure you can look it up and pull up a few cases of this actually happening. Why is this a lot of men's way of flirting? Why is it, I'm not blaming Romantasy for that. Men, I do not want you to try and me and then romance me, okay? I like books. Cool. Ask me about the books that I like. I've recently been getting into a lot of Rory Powers books. I've got into C.G. Drew's, Rainbow Rowell. I've now started reading the Atlas Six, which goodness knows how that's going to end because I know that is apparently a Romantasy. So far, I'm enjoying it, but it's just one of them, isn't it? Like, why is Romantasy, the only way I can look at Romantasy, smut sells. It is the industry. If smut sells, what are the publishers going to look for? A guaranteed sale. So they'll publish it. But is this ruining the quality of books? This is my gripe with the Romantasy, because don't get me wrong, there are some people who do Romantasy and they do it well. I haven't got any examples right now because I'm not going through my 2,000 read books and picking out the Romantasy. Not happening. Not even for the sake of a video. I'm not going through all the books I've read and picking out the Romantasy I did enjoy, because I would, that is insane. That is a lot of books to go through. I don't have the patience to even sit down and go through all the books I've ever read. I can't even tell you the genres of most of the books that I've read, because I pick up a book because it sounds good and if I don't like it. But what I will say is there's a lot of smut. Romantasy just seems to be a genre of smut. And for me, they are very bland. They are very boring. Romantasy, I was kind of hoping we'd have romance and fantasy combined in one, but they are just smut books. 90% of what is being regurgitated and sold to us is smut. Is it ruining romance? Well, it ruins it for me. I'm looking for romance that is actually building up relationships. I look for, in my romance, don't want it to be the main plot. I want it to be a subplot. I want it to be a plot where we see the characters grow, develop, and, over time, love each other. Or maybe they love each other at the beginning. I'm fine with them loving each other at the beginning, so long as they have that relationship. That sounds safe, sound brilliant. And if they have struggles, explore the difficulties. But the shallow world building, the shallow world building gets me every single time. Is this just me? Do you have difficulties with this? Let me know. But with Romantasy, I don't like it. I just hate. I still will give books occasionally because I don't look at the genre of the book before I read it. I just look at whether or not I think I would enjoy it. But Romantasy has a problem with world building, character development, and general arcs of the books. What do you think? Or is this just a me thing? I'll see you guys in the next one.